Well, it's finally time to do this video, time to show you everything that I bought from Japan. As you can see, I didn't manage to put everything in one suitcase, and there are actually some extra things laying around. So let's just go ahead and start this video. Whew. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. You know what? Let's just start with the suitcase. First, let's clean this off. And there we go. Okay, so let me tell you that my main goal for this trip was to fill in my collection, and especially handheld collection, and also some other big consoles that I'm missing from this collection. So I really wanted a Game Boy Micro, a Game & Watch, and also a Virtual Boy. But if you've seen my previous video, there isn't any Virtual Boy. I'm still happy with what I got. Alright, so let's start off with this side. There are some things over here as well. The first bag, as you've seen, that was a Pokemon one. This is something that I bought from the Pokémon Centers in Tokyo. First of all, I bought these Pokemon cards. I didn't know what to expect. I never bought things like this, but these are just some plain Pokemon cards. But yeah, these are now part of my collection for some reason. Next, we got these sleeves, these Charizard ones, and I already started using some of them because I also bought some Pokemon cards, which I will show you in a minute. This is something that I bought from the first Pokemon Center. This is just a case for putting the cards in, but I will not use these kind of things, but I don't know why. When I saw it, I had to have it. Then we have memory cards. I did make a list, but I had a couple of items that I was looking for, starting off with consoles, but also games and a couple of accessories. And the PlayStation memory card and also GameCube is something that I wanted. Yeah, these weren't that expensive. I think I bought these in a hard off in Tokyo. So yeah, just some plain old regular memory cards, which I was missing from my collection, and now I have them. And last but not least, these are some patches. There you go. So these are some Pikachu and Charizard patches. Yeah, just some fun little items that I bought from the Pokémon Center. Moving on to the second one. So this bag, it's something that I bought, I believe, in one store alone, or maybe two. I don't even remember the name of that store. I tried to put it in my previous videos with the shops that I recommend browsing in Akihabara in Tokyo. This was just a random store that I went inside, and they had a couple of consoles, but especially some pretty good deals for games. And I got Final Fantasy for 1500 yen. It's really cheap. This is Mario Golf. Actually, this one I bought in another store just to get some tax-free shopping, because most of the stores, if you paid more than 5,500 yen, then you'll get like 10% off if you had a passport, so if you're a tourist. And this one I bought just to reach that limit because I was almost there. Then we got Super Mario 64 for N64. And as you can see, this is really cheap for 700 yen. I always wanted this in my collection. I know it's more expensive in English, but I don't even have an N64 yet. Then we have again Super Mario 64, but this time for the DS. This one was a bit more expensive. Then this one, this is a WonderSwan game. This was again really cheap, 1,300 yen. And I bought this just because it has Gundam on it. I believe this wasn't ever played, so it was practically brand new. Now, a couple of other games that I had in my suitcase. This is One Piece for the Game Boy Advance. Then we have Naruto for GameCube. I just like how these cases for GameCube are in Japan. These are really small. I don't know if you can see it over here. I also have a couple of Naruto figurines. So I really like Naruto. Then there are some Switch games, and these are the only two games that I bought for Nintendo Switch. The Super Mario Wonder and the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I never had them in my collection, but these were really cheap. I'll see if I can get the footage from the store where I got these. They're already in English because my Nintendo Switch is in English, so I couldn't pass on these ones. And now for some cooler items. These are some Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games that I got. And also these cases, as you can see over here, because I tried to get a few of them and I didn't even clean them up. We got Space Invaders. It was really cheap. It is a bit yellow, but I'll try to clean it up. But it's working. I played it already. Then we had Super Mario Land and Super Mario Land 2. Actually, this one that I bought, it was sold as junk, but then when I got home, I cleaned it up a bit, and to my surprise, this game really worked. And then I also got Super Mario Land 2. These two games were on my list to get over there. And another important game for Game Boy that I really wanted to pick up was, of course, Pokemon Green. You probably already know by now, but Pokemon Green was a Japanese exclusive and I had to get it. I remember for sure the price, this was 4,000 yen. Not that expensive, but in the end the deal wasn't that great as well. I did find this for a lot more in other stores, but I also found it for cheaper. And I also picked up Pokemon Crystal, because this is one of my favorite cartridges out there for Game Boy Color. As you can see, the Japanese one has this amazing looking crystal on the back. This was actually pretty cheap. I wasn't planning on getting it, but when I saw the price, I couldn't pass on this opportunity. And I also got Super Mario for the Game Boy Advance. This was, I believe, the last thing that I bought in my trip in Japan. I saw this in a store called Retro Game Camp. I mentioned this in my previous video. It wasn't that expensive, but of course I could find this cheaper in some other stores. And moving on to some more interesting items, I finally managed to buy myself a Famicom. I really wanted to get this in my collection. It doesn't look that great. I also posted this on YouTube community because at that point, the cheapest one that I could get was around 9,000 yen, and this was 4,400 or something like that because of tax deduction. It doesn't look that great, but it's functional. I also have the adapter somewhere over here. One of the controllers has seen better days, but the other one looks pretty okay. Another cool item that I got, this was in my second to last day in Kyoto. I finally got a Game Boy camera, or a pocket camera as they call it in Japan. You already know about this item. This is just a camera for your Game Boy. Plug it in as a regular game. You can take pictures with it. I did test this out. I already took a pictures. I also posted it on Twitter, but I still haven't tried to look inside just to see if there are some other photos. This wasn't that cheap. I think it was 4,000 yen, but until then I barely found a couple of them in Super Potato, but they were even more expensive than that. So in the end, maybe I overpaid, but I'm happy to finally have this in my collection. Oh, these are really cool. These are armbands from Super Nintendo World. I've been there in Osaka, and I bought these, one for me and one for my wife, with Mario and Peach. These are a must buy if you go to Nintendo World. Without these, you can barely do anything, and these are really fun to use. Put them on your arm, you can get coins, play some games, collect items. These are pretty expensive. These were 5,500 yen each. I didn't buy some others because the price was pretty high, but at least I got Mario and Peach. And actually I bought a few other items in Nintendo World. Let me see. I also bought this hat over here. I'm not really a hat type of guy because I don't really like how it looks like on me, but I bought this hat with Super Mario. I also tried a few plush ones. Those ones looked even sillier on me. So in the end I went ahead and bought this one. And the best thing that I bought, you may have already seen this, but I bought this super cool Mario Kart figurine. Well, actually, this is a really fun item because this was actually a popcorn holder. You can buy this with popcorn inside, and then you have this strap that you can use and put it around your neck. As you can see, the wheels also light up. So it's a fun little item. You can either buy this or a golden star. Okay. Enough with this one. What else? I'm just picking these randomly as they go, so there isn't any order, but I also got the only game for the PS5. This is Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. This is a fairly new game. I know that reviews weren't that great, but I still enjoy Avatar World. This was really cheap. I believe it was less than $20. Now, if I'm looking back, I think these three games are the only current gen games that I bought while I was there, because this trip was all about retro consoles, of course. But this was still a nice thing to get. Now, this is just a random item. If you've seen my previous video, this is just a screwdriver. This is for the Game Boy cartridges. I cannot really find it for cheap here in Romania, and that's why I wanted to get this. Believe it or not, this was an item that I had on that list. Then I also had to buy some Pokemon things, of course, and this is Fat Pikachu 25 anniversary. I think I overpaid for this. This was, if I remember correctly, 2000 yen or maybe even more than that. But I really wanted a graded Japanese card. And this is, as you can see, a 10 grade Pokemon card. Yeah. Why I bought this? I don't know. Next, there are two items that I'm still not sure which of these are my favorite. But for now, I will show you one of them because you've already seen the thumbnail for the previous video. This is the Donkey Kong Game & Watch console from Nintendo. This was actually on the top of my list and I wanted the Game & Watch, of course, but especially this one. And if you don't know why this is special, I'll mention this in a minute, but for now, let's just open it up. First of all, as you can see, this is the price that I paid for it. It's bought from that friend store that I mentioned in the previous video, but they didn't have any tax deduction. So full price. I do believe this was in the first day of shopping and I was thinking that maybe I'll find this for cheaper, but I didn't care. I really wanted to buy something to commemorate my shopping in Akihabara. But in the end, I think this was the cheapest that I could find, especially full box. But as you can see, this also has, I'm not sure if these are all the booklets that you should find in the Game & Watch box, but I'm happy that we have all of these. I do believe there were some items over here, but I'm missing those ones. And this does look to be in pretty good shape. I did test this out, of course, and this plays really well. This is a fine looking console and I'm really happy that I got this. As I said, these and another item are among my favorites. I still cannot decide which is my favorite one. And the main reason why I chose this out of all the different Game & Watches from Nintendo, it's this D-pad over here. If you're not aware, the D-pad that you find here on this console, it's actually the first time in history where the D-pad was used. This is history right here. You already know that ever since this was introduced, it stayed there. Even the current gen consoles have this D-pad, so you'll see how important this was. I'm really happy to have this in my collection. I will be storing this proudly somewhere in a case, but there you go, Game & Watch, one of my most important items that I currently have in my collection. So next we have this Nintendo Wii U. The Nintendo Wii U, it's also a console that I really wanted for my collection, but I never considered that it's okay to pay that price for this kind of console. Here in Romania, it's more than $100, I think $150 or something like that. And I found this in the junk section for 3,000 yen. It even has the stylus, the original one over here. And actually that charger is the reason why this was considered as junk. It is a bit damaged, but I was okay either way. I also want to buy an original with the EU plug. For its age, I think this looks pretty good. Now, over here, I also have some very special items for me. These are all books. First of all, this is just a book that I bought from Osaka Castle with all the dynasty, and I also added a few of the stamps. If you are aware that Japan is famous for this kind of things, that you can collect stamps in the subway or different temples and regions. And I actually bought at some point nice Sakura looking, don't judge me, it's pink, but I like the idea of having this with Sakura. But as you can see, this has quite a few of the stamps, also from some temples, but also the ones that you can find in different areas, subways and all that. But my favorite one, even though the ink was pretty much gone, of course, has to be the one from Akihabara. But enough with these stamps. These items are really important for me. These are actually the manga that I enjoyed the most. I know there are few others very important and really nice ones like One Piece. These are my personal favorite. Of course, Naruto, as I said, I have the full box. I even made a video about it at some point. I have every manga, including this one, but this is #1 in Japanese. I will not open these up. I will keep them as is. So I have Naruto, Boruto, and also My Hero Academia, and of course Dragon Ball Z #1. I bought these like this just because I want to make, I don't know, maybe a frame out of them. I want to store them as they are. So these are just collector's items. #1 from each of these manga, my favorite ones out there. And another one that, I don't know, for me it seemed cool. This is a weekly Jump, so Shonen Jump, the magazine where all these manga have appeared initially and are still going on with some of them, of course. But this is where it all started for all these mangas. And this is the one that was present in one of the weeks when I was there in Japan. I'm really happy to have this in my collection. Let's keep it going. We still have a lot of items. Next, we have all these items. We did get some Amiibos. These were used Amiibos. So this is Pikachu. It has seen better days, but this was just 700 yen. Then I got Princess Peach for my wife to have it on her desk. Then I got Squirrel. I bought this from a new store in Kyoto, an official Nintendo store one. And yeah, this is boxed, and of course I will keep it like this. Sorry, I want to have these sitting on my desk, so I will not keep them sealed. And I also forgot about Bulbasaur. Here you have it. These are some amazing looking Amiibos. Then we also have this nice looking Mario picture holder. This is something that my wife picked up on Nintendo World. I forgot about it. She wants to put a nice picture over here. And actually, let's just do a poll. If you have reached this part of the video, please mention in the comment how long do you think it will take her to put a picture over here, because I know for sure that this will be kept like this for a while, to be honest. Then we also have, this is actually from one of the collector items for the current 151 Pokemon. I'm not sure if it's Japanese exclusive, but I didn't find this with a small binder over here in Romania. But I bought them and I already opened it up while I was there, so that's why it looks like this. I do have some footage with it, and I did manage to open 3 out of the 4 packs, and then I kept one as is because I will keep it unopened, and the rest I already put here inside this small binder. And as you can see, I already got the 3 starters over here. But separately, I also bought the EX version of the starters. I do have the English version, and the Charizard is the one that I'm missing, but these 2 I already had. But as you can see, these were really cheap. I just had to get these even though they're in Japanese. I wanted to have these in my collection. Then we also had a couple of PS Vita games. I did look for a couple of them, but unfortunately Gravity Rush is the only one that I had on my list, and I picked up over there. 800 yen, really cheap. Then I got this for really cheap, 400 and something yen. It's Sackboy and Terraria. But I also got this Gundam boxed PS Vita game. I'm not sure if this has 2 of them, because here on the box it says that there are 2. I didn't open it up. I'm not sure if this is brand new or not. But to be honest, I will not play it. I never had a boxed game for PS Vita, so I picked this up. I don't know what this is. And the only game that I picked up for the 3DS, this was really cheap. I don't remember the price, but for sure I have footage for it. This is Mario Maker for the 3DS, Japanese of course. But yeah, it's a fine little item to have in my collection. Let's move on. You may already know that there are these things on the street, every corner, where you pick up just some random items, toys over there. And whenever I've seen one, I just had to put some money inside and get them. Sometimes I put the money in the wrong machine, so I got some weird items, as you can see over here. This is a snow globe that I want to fill in at some point. Some of them I already opened. I did manage to get a Togepi, which is really cute. This is a Spider-Man one. Again, a weird looking baby, which, to be honest, I was trying to get Spider-Man, but for some reason I put the money in the wrong machine. Anyway, then we have this Naruto figurine, which wasn't part of these machines, but it was still a random box. I bought this from Naruto Museum, which is on Fuji-Q. I went there and bought this right before they closed. I didn't know what I will be picking up, but there you go. I did manage to pick up Naruto, and I'm really happy about it. Then I also bought these 2 cars for some reason, Ferrari and the Honda. The Ferrari because I'm a fan of Ferrari, and Honda just because my wife liked how this looks like. These were pretty much everywhere. It's something specific to Japanese market, and I bought it. Then we also have these two badges. These were given to you after you paid to play some games in Universal World. I didn't manage to win the prize, but they gave you a consolation prize, so I got these two badges. Let's move on. Well, this bag I will not go through with it because we just have some cables, adapters and all that. So basically I got some controllers for the Nintendo Wii. I do have a Nintendo Wii, but I lost all the cables and controllers and all that last year in Spain. You remember, I got robbed. But the Wii was in another bag and all the rest of the accessories were stolen. And now I just had to pick everything up again. Now, finally, for the coolest items out there. This is the Xbox Elite 2 controller. So this is the official controller that is very customizable. You can swap up buttons, triggers and all that. This is a really cool item, really cool controller that I did want to pick up at some point. I paid this price over here. Now, consoles. First thing first, I got this Game Boy Pocket. It's something that I had on my list. Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Light as well. I did get this one and as you can see, it's pretty beat up. It's not in the best shape, but this was actually really cheap. This was sold as junk. When I got home, I tested it once more and I didn't have to do anything else to it, maybe just to clean it up a bit, but it's fully functional and it was really cheap. Wish it was in a better condition, but I'm still happy with it and I will keep it as is because this is my only Game Boy Pocket. Then I got Game Boy Color. This does say 6,000 yen. To be honest, I don't remember if this was the actual price for it. I saw this in my final day when I did another trip to Akihabara just before my flight. I found this in the junk section. There were some issues with it. A and B just had a bit of dirt on them. I opened this up, cleaned it up in, I don't know, 3 minutes, and now as you can see this works great. It's fully functional. Then we got this WonderSwan color also working. So they did sell this as junk. It was 3,000 yen, so pretty cheap from my point of view, but this is fully functional, no issues with it. I played that game that I mentioned before. Everything works perfectly, no issues whatsoever. Then I got this red gorgeous looking PSP. This is the 3000 model. I already had the 3000 model in my collection, but it's a silver one, the matte one, and this one looks amazing. And it actually comes with almost everything. It doesn't have the card, but it also has the battery, as you can see. This one was also sold as junk because apparently it has some charging issues, but I actually used this to play a couple of games and no issues whatsoever. And then we also have WonderSwan. This is the non-color version, if I can catch this on camera, but the screen does look to have some issues, and that's why I knew from the start, because it was sold as junk, that maybe this will not be functional. But actually this works perfectly fine. I didn't do anything to it other than the screen that has some minimal damage to it, but it's still functional. The condition of it, it's pretty good. Again, a really good price, and I'm really happy that I bought all of these from junk section, because in the end they were fully functional. I think the only one that I had to do some extra work was the Game Boy Color, just clean up the A and B button, and that was it. And I also had to pick up a Pocket Station. If you don't know about this, this is actually technically, this is Sony's first official handheld console. This had a couple of games for it, standalone games, but mostly it was used as a PS1 and PS2 memory card, because you can slide this into the console. And I actually already had this, if you've seen one of my previous videos, but it was the white one, and I wanted to get the clear shell one, and actually this one, it's in better shape. I did pay 2,400 yen for it, but it's in pretty good condition. Again, for all of these items, you probably can find them on some other smaller towns in Japan, but I didn't have the liberty to go over there. For the minimal time that I had for shopping, I think I did pretty good. So yeah, these items are really amazing. But there is one more thing. I did mention that the Game & Watch might be my favorite item that I bought over there, but I actually have another, and probably that's the one that I'm most happy about, and that's the Game Boy Micro. So as I said at the start of the video, I was looking for a Game Boy Micro, Game Boy Light, Game & Watch and Virtual Boy. So technically I only got two. The Game Boy Micro was the item that I really wanted from my trip to Japan. And there I was in my final day, and I was leaving Kyoto to going to Tokyo just to stay for 1 hour and then go to the airport. And I almost missed the opportunity of getting this console, but just my luck, the plane got delayed for 2 hours, and I went back and went to all these different stores that I mentioned in my previous videos. I knew already where they were, quickly browsed through them, and there it was. I found this for 27,000 yen, full box. I think this one was basically unused because of its condition. As you can see, it's full box. It has all the booklets and everything, and even the charger and the pouch over here. I did find another one for 2,000 yen, but with no box. As you can see, this is in really good shape. The face plate is swappable, so it does have a bit of dust, but that's because I removed it before. But as you can see, it's in really good shape, and there are no scratches, at least from what I can see. I'm really happy that I managed to get this, and just because I almost missed out on this device, that's why it has to be my favorite item that I got from Japan, just because how difficult it was to get one for a decent price. I did mention before that Akihabara in the end can be expensive, but you really need to know how much you are willing to pay to buy there. And I knew how much I was willing to pay for a Game Boy Micro, and I actually played it in my plane and on the train when I went back, and that's why I actually bought this Super Mario game that I mentioned previously. This was the final item that I bought. Right after I bought this Game Boy Micro, I went to my final retro store, the Retro Game Camp, and I bought this one. And I'm really happy. This is such an amazing device. Look at it. This is the last Game Boy that was made by Nintendo. So history right here. I will be doing a video about every Game Boy that was done by Nintendo, so the full history and what's the difference between these devices. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video. And yeah, let me know what you think. Which is your favorite item from this collection? My camera is at 1%. Hopefully I can still say this final word. Please let me know which one is your favorite. What else do you want to see in the next videos? And I'll make sure to browse through these items and do a couple of more videos about them. That's it for this video. This is Silvio. This is the Tech Unravel. Thank you for watching me rambling about all these items, and I'll catch you in the next video. I did it! Battery still at 1%. It didn't die. Woohoo! Alright, bye. Not even 1%. I think it will die.